Okay, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. So I mentioned that the food for the soul is ibadah. Without worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, without thanking Him, and without praising Him, and without worshipping Him, people remain all the life hungry. That's what happens. The food for the soul is the ibadah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and hamd is part of that. The first ibadah is to hamd, to thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to praise Him, but ibadah is the food for that. As I mentioned, the people need four things. What you need? Fitrah, a right nature. Then you need will, irada, to really to know. For example, that I mentioned the example, that first thing is the thirst you have got. Then a will to find something which can quench your thirst. And the third thing is to have knowledge of the water. And the fourth is to drink the water. So similarly, the first thing is this thirst of the ibadah in your heart. Second thing is the will, the irada, to get the right knowledge. And the fourth one, when you get the knowledge, the fourth thing to act upon that. To what is the right knowledge? Right, where the ibadah can come. How do we learn? For example, about the water, you need to know from someone who knows. For anything in this world, the knowledge only can be correct if you take from the right source. For example, if you don't know a path, a road, is coming to Medina, first time I ask people where the mosque of the Prophet ﷺ. And if you ask someone who does not know, he will misguide you. Anywhere you go, in the world, if you want to find out any address or any way, you have to find the right source. People must actually learn about the right source of ibadah. Ibadah cannot be taken from anybody. Ibadah must be taken from its right source. So if you want to learn about mathematics, go to mathematician. If you want to learn about the poetry, go to poets, things like that. If you want to learn ibadah, you don't need to go to a philosopher. A scientist will not help you. Who will help you? The prophets and messengers. Because the prophets and messengers are those who have right fitrah, and they made effort to find the right answer from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Allah revealed to them. That's why the Quran is about the Prophet Ibrahim Islam, innahu kana siddiqan nabiyya. Siddiq means he had actually thirst and the will, and then want to find the answer. And then Nabi means Allah revealed to him the answer, that how to worship me. So the prophets and messengers, they have right effort, and they have got actually right knowledge of the ibadah. So that's why ibadah must be taken from its right source. And the right source of the ibadah is the Quran and the Sunnah of the Prophet, because both are revelation. The right source is the revelation. And revelation are two types. One is the Quran, and the second is the Sunnah of the Prophet. What it means is, you cannot worship your Lord by your mind. Reason cannot help you how to worship Him. Reason can help you for many things, but reason cannot help you how to worship. Reason will not teach you ibadah. Reason cannot teach you how to pray. Reason will not teach you that there are 5 times of prayer a day. Reason cannot teach you. You have to learn this thing from the revelation. Ibadah must be based on the revelation. If anybody teaches you something and which that it has reward or does not have reward, if he does not have the proof from the Quran and Sunnah, from right source, it never can be ibadah. Is it clear? That's why there is so much criticism in the Quran and Sunnah about shirk and about bid'ah. Shirk basically is you make another source other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And bid'ah is that you mix with that source something else. That's bid'ah. So shirk and bid'ah both are not allowed. Shirk basically means you make an ibadah to any other partner. And bid'ah means that you are not happy with the teaching of the Prophet ﷺ. You want to add something more from yourself, from someone else, and then become happy. Ibadah must be taken purely from Allah and His Messenger. Nobody has the source of ibadah. Ulama can make effort to answer your question, but they are not the source. If they make effort sincerely and they are right, they get double reward. And if they have mistake, they get one reward. But nobody has a right to add anything from their own without any proof. Anybody adds something from their own without any proof, it is really big mistake, corruption of the religion. That's why bid'ah actually is one of the big problem for any community. So the source of the knowledge, what? The Quran and the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. These are two sources. And as I mentioned, the Quran is the real teaching from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the Sunnah is applying that teaching by the Prophet ﷺ. The Sunnah is the application. That how the messengers have applied the Quran to his life. That's why people, Imam Shafi and many people say the Quran, Sunnah is the bayan of the Quran. So whatever Quran has been teaching, the Prophet ﷺ just implemented that Quran in his life. Sometimes not very clear to the people how to connect it with the Quran, but if you look deeper, you can find every sunnah, somehow it is connected with the Quran. The Prophet ﷺ gets the information from the Quran and then he applies to his own life. So we have Quran and we have got the Sunnah, the first application. These two things are essential. Without them, you never can apply Quran to your own life. In our time, people say, no, we have to, this is text, and we know our context. Let actually, read the text and apply the text to our context. And this is a mistake. It is not enough that you know the text. It is very important that you know how the text has been applied by the first person, by the Prophet ﷺ. Simple thing is, the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ was not a postman, that he came and delivered the Quran in every house. He was a messenger. He received the Quran, applied the Quran, and he taught you how to follow the Quran. It's not that he delivering the Quran in every house, and then after that we don't need him. Like a postman delivers a letter, then you don't need to know him. You just want to read the letter. He's not like that. You need to know him. You need to know how he understood the Quran. You need to know how he applied the Quran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that, لَتُبَيَّنَ لِلنَّاسِ مَا نُزِّلَ إِلَيْهِمْ. O Allah the Messenger, we have sent you to explain to the people what has been sent down to do. It is duty of the Messenger to tell people how to act upon the Quran. This religion cannot be understood and followed properly without the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Simple thing, you cannot separate the Quran from the Sunnah. It is impossible. You cannot separate the Sunnah from the Prophet from the Quran. It never can work. And that's why the Quran says, قُلْ إِن كُنْتُمْ تُحِبُّونَ اللَّهَ فَاتَّبِعُونِي يُحْبِبْكُمُ اللَّهِ. If you love Allah, then follow the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Allah will love you. So messenger is very, very important. And that's why Muslims from very beginning, they have been very keen to learn the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. When he was alive, he was the reference of the Quran. If you want to know how to apply the Quran, go to him. And he used to say that Sallu kama ra'aytumuni wasalli, pray as you see me praying. He said in the Hajj, Khudu anni manasikakum, take from me the rituals of the Hajj. So he was the only reference, no other reference. So if you want to apply the Quran, follow him. When he died, then people need to learn from his companions. So now Sunnah became basically recording of the Sunnah. Means there are records. People will tell you what his Sunnah was. This record either exists in the mind of the people or in the writing. So we got now a new word, Hadith. So Hadith is what? Hadith is record of the Sunnah. So we have got the Sunnah, application of the Quran. Then we have Hadith. Hadith came to record the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, which was preserved either in the mind of the people or in the writing. From the very beginning, there are many companions who used to write down the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, and there are companions who memorize them, from their heart. I don't want to go in the history. And then second generation, third generation, until we got major works in Islam like Sahih Bukhari, Muslim, Abu Dawud, Tirmidhi, and so many works. One of the type of the collection has been in Islam in Hadith is what you call Arba'unat, the 40 Hadith. There are some weak Hadith which actually tell you the virtue of 40 Hadith. So many people have been compiling their own 40 Hadith. Somehow the 40 Hadith which is compiled by Imam Nawawi became much more famous. So there are many hundreds of the 40 Hadith, Arba'unat. This one became very, very famous. And it is written by Imam Nawawi rahimahullah ta'ala, who, his full name is Yahya ibn Sharaf. Abu Zakaria is his kunya, and Muhyiddin is his title. So Yahya ibn Sharaf, Abu Zakaria, Muhyiddin, and Nawawi al-Shafi'i. So Shafi'i and Nawawi, because he's Nawa in Syria, and he was born in Muharram, the year 631. That when he was born. And he died in the year 676. He was born 631 and died in the year 676. Very, very short life. But in that life, actually, he really, produced so much things, and he has been teaching in Damascus and in Darul Hadith al-Shafiyya. In this 40 Hadith, Imam Nawawi has mentioned that he has compiled the Hadiths which are Sahih or Hasan. Though actually there are few Hadiths which are weak as well, around 7 Hadiths. So 7 Hadith collection, they are weak. Some actually are very, very weak. So when it will come, inshallah, I'll point to you that what these weak Hadiths are. So we don't have so much time to go in detail about many of these things. But inshallah, I'll read and explain a little bit which can help you, inshallah, to understand the things. So he has Muqaddimah. I'm not going to read from Muqaddimah, just read the Hadith itself, inshallah. So the first hadith in this collection is hadith of إنما الأعمال بالنيات. Imam Nawawi rahimahullah says عن أمير المؤمنين أبي حفص عمر بن الخطاب رضي الله عنه قال سمعت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول إنما الأعمال بالنيات وإنما لكل امرئ ما نوى فمن كانت هجرته إلى الله ورسوله فهجرته إلى الله ورسوله ومن كانت هجرته إلى دنيا يصيبها أو امرأة ينكحها فهجرته إلى ما هاجر إليه. رواه إمام المحدثين أبو عبد الله محمد بن إسماعيل بن إبراهيم بن المغيرة بن بردزبة البخاري وأبو الحسين مسلم بن الحجاج بن مسلم القشيري النيسابوري في صحيحيهما اللذين هما أصح الكتب المصنفة. So this hadith of إنما الأعمال بالنيات, which is narrated by Umar al-Khattab radiyallahu anhu. So this is a famous hadith, everybody knows. Though actually in the beginning, hadith was not so famous. Among all the Sahaba, the only Sahabi who narrated the hadith is Umar al-Khattab radiyallahu anhu. This is the sound isnad. And from Umar al-Khattab radiyallahu anhu, the only person who narrates this hadith is Al-Qama ibn Waqqas al-Laythi. And from Al-Qama, the only person who narrates the hadith is Muhammad ibn Ibrahim al-Taymi. And from Taymi, the only person who narrates the hadith is Yahya ibn Sa'id al-Ansari. In the fourth generation, you have got only one person. Yahya ibn Sa'id al-Ansari from Muhammad ibn Ibrahim al-Taymi, and Taymi from Al-Qama, and Al-Qama ibn Waqqas al-Laythi from Umar ibn Khattab radiyallahu anhu. Then from Yahya ibn Sa'id al-Ansari, hadith became very famous. Everybody in the world actually coming, all the scholars coming and learning from him. And among the major people who narrate the hadith from Yahya ibn Sa'id al-Ansari is Imam Malik, Sufyan al-Thawri, Sufyan ibn Uyayna, big people of Islam in all around 300 people. There are 300 people who learned this hadith from Yahya ibn Sa'id al-Ansari. After that it became famous everywhere. But in the first four generation, it was basically a narration of only one person. Imam Bukhari rahimahullah ta'ala had mentioned this hadith in his book 7 times. The hadith has come in Sahih Bukhari 7 times. Imam Bukhari rahimahullah ta'ala only mentioned in his Sahih the most authentic isnad. And the most authentic isnad, he has got seven most authentic isnad for the hadith. And he mentioned hadith 7 times, each time for a new information, to teach you something new. That's how he does. Actually, the first time when hadith has come in Sahih Bukhari is not complete, incomplete hadith for a reason. Maybe if I have time, inshallah, I'll explain. First, I translate the hadith and then comment on the hadith. So the hadith is coming from Umar radiyallahu anhu. His kunya is Abu Hafs, and he's Amir al-Mu'mineen. The first person who became Amir al-Mu'mineen Islam is Umar al-Khattab radiyallahu anhu. Before that, the Abu Bakr Siddiq was called Khalifat Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The title Amir al-Mu'mineen came from Umar radiyallahu anhu. He is the first time he adopted the title of Amir al-Mu'mineen, commander of the believers. And he's saying that I heard Allah the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam saying, "Innamal a'malu bin niyyat." The actions are only with the intentions. To explain what it means later on. And for every man is what he intended. So whoever hijrah or migration is to Allah and His Messenger, then his hijrah is to Allah and His Messenger. And whoever his hijrah is for dunya to get it, a woman to marry her, then his hijrah is whatever he did hijrah to. And the hadith is mentioned, Imam Nawawi said by Imam Bukhari in his Sahih and by Imam Muslim in his Sahih. In those books, actually hadith exists in every book. In Abu Dawud, in Tirmidhi, in Nasa'i, in Majah. Most nuskha of Muwatta don't have this hadith, but nuskha of Imam Muhammad ibn Hasan al-Shaybani, when he narrated the Muwatta from Malik, that one has got this hadith. But other one, the most popular one, Yahya al-Laythi and others, they don't have got the hadith of Innamal A'malu bin-Niyyat. This hadith is very important. It is so important that Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal rahimahullah says that the foundations of Islam are 3 hadiths. 3 hadiths are foundations of Islam. The first one is Hadith of Umar, Innamal A'malu bin-Niyyat. So 3 hadiths are foundations of Islam. The first one is Hadith of Umar, Innamal A'malu bin-Niyyat. Second hadith is Hadith of Aisha, Man ahdatha fi amrina hadha ma laysa minhu fahuwa raddun. Anybody who invented in our matter, on this matter, in Islam, something which is not from that, it is rejected. And the third one is Hadith of An-Nu'man al-Bashir radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, al-halal bayyinun wal-haram bayyin. Halal is clear and haram is clear. All three hadiths will come here anyway in this book. Imam Hanbal rahimahullah also said, ليس في أخبار النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم شيء أجمع وأغنى وأكثر فائدة من هذا الحديث. Among all the reports which come from the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم, there is nothing more comprehensive, more beneficial, and more useful than this hadith. This hadith is the most useful hadith people can learn really. This hadith you can teach anybody at any time. There are some hadiths, people don't need to teach. For example, in same Bukhari, where you got this hadith, in the same Bukhari, there are hadiths also that, the Prophet ﷺ came to a place and he urinated while standing. So hadith of urinating while standing also in Sahih Bukhari. So now if an imam comes in the mosque and he teaches people that the Prophet ﷺ, was urinating while standing, and he said in Sahih Bukhari, not right teaching. If you teach in the mosque to everybody, that's actually more useful. But teaching that hadith, which also in Sahih Bukhari, is not so useful for everybody. It could be useful for some time, but not all the time. So some hadith, they are useful and beneficial for the people all the time. Something people need only, for a small question. To understand, many people don't understand this thing, that hadith, not all the hadiths have same importance. Like for example, when the parent in the house, they teach their children something, to every single instruction that they give, not same importance. Something is more important, something less important. When you learn anything, any science, something are more important, something less important. So that actually must be understood properly. Many people don't understand this thing, and they say, no, we are teaching hadith. It has come hadith. Even what you teach is going to divide the Muslim community, it is going to bring more problems for the community. They don't care. They say they teach hadith. This is not right way. You must learn really that what to teach and when to teach and who to teach. It is not enough that hadith in Sahih Bukhari. You have to learn properly that those people need to learn this knowledge, and when they want to learn, when they need to learn. If you are teaching kind of going to harm people more than benefiting them, then you cannot teach them. You are not allowed to teach them. So this must be kept in mind, that whenever learn any hadith or teach a hadith, understand really what is more important. And this hadith certainly is the most useful thing that people can learn. Everybody actually should learn it. Teach your children, teach your family people, teach your friends. This hadith, everybody needs them. Imam Abdul Rahman Mahdi, one of the great reformers of Islam and Shaykh al-Islam of Basra, Imam Shafi'i, and Hanbal as mentioned, Ali al-Madini, Abu Dawud, Tirmidhi, Dar Qutni, so many people. All of them say about this hadith, it is 1/3 of Islam. If you divide Islam in 3 parts, this hadith is 1/3 of Islam. These people say. Abdul Rahman Mahdi rahimahullah said, يدخل في 30 بابا من العلم. This hadith is useful for the 30 chapters of knowledge. The 30 chapters of the knowledge where you can use this hadith. Imam Shafi'i rahimahullah said, يدخل في 70 بابا. Imam Shafi'i said, for 70 chapters. There are 70 things for which you need this hadith. Abdul Rahman Mahdi said, ينبغي أن يجعل هذا الحديث رأس كل باب. This hadith should be made heading of every chapter. When you start a chapter, start with this hadith. It's so important. So the people have to understand that this hadith actually is so important. So what this hadith means, we have to make effort to understand properly. It says that إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ. The actions are only with intentions. Meaning actions, validity of action only happens with intention. So what happening actually is, a human being is a creation with a will. You never can separate human action from the human will. It is impossible. If you want to understand human action without understanding the human will, you never can understand. If you know that somebody hit someone, only you know that he has hit someone, and you want to understand, you never can understand. Why? Because hitting sometimes can be out of love. Sometimes people love and some just hit like that. And hitting can sometimes can be just hatred. People don't like, or sometimes discipline, sometimes something else. If you don't know the intention, the will behind that, you never can know the action. that you can see, like any law, not leave Islam, only even British law, when something becomes crime, when people say it is a crime, when intention is there. If there's no intention, it's not a crime. In any law, the crime only becomes crime with intention. If people do the same thing but with mistake or something else, it's never a crime. Is it clear? The simple thing is you cannot separate human action from the intention, from the will. Human will actually basically is there. It must be understood. That's why Hadith says, "Innamal a'malu binniyat." Actions are considered with the intention. If you don't know, if intention is not understood properly, actions cannot be understood. So that way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala looks at what? The intention. Because that's what actions and intention both are connected. But same action can come from two different intentions. Sometimes there is good intention for the same action. And sometimes, for example, when I pray, it could be I want to please my Lord. But sometimes I'm praying to teach my student how to pray. The two intentions. The first one was ibadah to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Second one was to teach the student how to do ibadah. It also ibadah, but it's secondary. The first one was my own ibadah to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Second one was I'm teaching. And the third one also can be, I want to show people I'm so pious. The people know that I pray all the time. So then, it is not ibadah. It's not benefit. It is sin. Like Shaykh Sadi Rahimullah said, "Kilide dare dozakhasta namaz ki dar chashme mardum guzari daraz." The prayer that you make longer in the eye of the people, it is key for the gate of the fire of hell. The prayer has been made to make you enter to paradise. But the prayer, if you do with the intention of showing off, showing the people, what happens? It becomes the key for the fire of hell. So that's why it is very important to learn innamal a'malu binniyat. Actions are with intention. When people make intention and action both, to what they get? They get what they intended. So that's why next thing I needed. So the first thing was the major principle that you cannot separate human action from the human will. Both are connected. Innamal a'malu binniyat, actions are with intention. The second thing is coming is wa innama likulli imri'in ma nawa, for everybody is whatever he intends. If you have good intention, you get good reward. If you have bad intention, you have bad reward. You can see really from your friends as well. If somebody makes a property, somebody hosts you and nice food and all those things, his intention is to respect you. Nothing else. He does not want anything from you. So you love him. But if somebody, same food, somebody gives you same food, same respect, everything same. But then he tells you the reason he, receives you so well because he wants you to do something for him. The reason behind that. So tell me, are you going to respect him? You can fulfill his, whatever he wants because he has done something for you, a favor. So you want to do same favor to him, but not same thing in your mind. So when people actually get whatever they intend, so if people pray for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they get that reward. If you pray because you want to teach someone, you get the reward of teaching, not the reward of the prayer. And also the hadith said, whatever they intended. It could be you do an action and you have one intention. You get that? You have an action and you have two intentions. You get that? As many intentions you get reward. If I say mana, whatever they intended. So for example, sometimes when you go for the Fajr prayer, you apply the perfume on your clothes nicely. The intention can be that when I apply the perfume, then I feel nice and then my heart is full in the prayer. You get reward for that. Second intention can be when I do this, I feel nice and also angels, they like this thing. So you want to please the angels, you get double reward. Third thing, you also intend that when I do this, then I also please the believers around me. So they don't feel hurt by me. The bad smell hurts everybody. You make them happy. You get 3 rewards. So you can see same action. It depends how many intention you can make. That's why the ulama say, most time the difference between two believers is not they do different things. They do the same thing, but their intentions are different. So that's why, Abu Bakr Siddiq radhiyallahu anhu, it's not that his prayers were different from other people's prayer very much, but intention was different. He could make from same thing so many good intentions, which most people don't do. That's why Shaykh Akram Nadwi rahimahullah used to say that the problem of the Muslims in our time is not that they have bad intention. The problem is they have no intention. They do good things, but they don't intend. That's the thing. We intend to the mosque with the right foot first, but we don't think it is Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We eat with the right hand, but we don't make intention. The people do, but they don't have intention. Once you make intention, then it becomes ibadah. Ibadah never can be without intention. What separates an ibadah, what distinguishes ibadah from the adah is intention. Adah is something which people do with no intention. And ibadah is something which you do with intention to please your Lord. So if you do an action to please your Lord, that becomes ibadah. So ibadah comes to distinguish the action from the adah. That's what people need. So if somebody had left his house, his hometown or where he has grown up and where his properties, houses, or relatives, or everything, for the sake of Allah's Messenger, then he gets the reward from Allah's Messenger. Leave your property for Allah's Messenger, you get actually better than that. If you leave your family for Allah's Messenger, then you get better than them. So if people's intention that they get like that, like when the companions they left Makkah al-Mukarramah, intention was what? For the sake of Allah, to please Him. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, happy with them. But when people leave their house for the sake of dunya, then they get dunya. So like for example, when India and Pakistan were divided, so many people they left India and they went to Pakistan. For what purpose? Not for deen, not to please Allah His Messenger. Many people went because they thought, if it is a Muslim country, we have more space and better enjoy, then we can do our business properly. They wanted basically a more safe, home. So they moved to Pakistan, and now they call themselves Muhajir. And in Pakistan, there is Muhajir Qawmi movement. Muhajir Qawmi, if you are in Muhajir, it does not need that you pray. Most of these Muhajir, they don't pray, nothing. They are Muhajir, that's their name, Muhajir, but they don't have prayer. Actually, I think many times I feel like the Muslims who did not do Hijrah from India, they are better in ibadah than those who did Hijrah, those who call themselves Muhajir. So this is not real Hijrah. This Hijrah basically for the worldly purpose. Similarly, for example, we people who came from India and Pakistan to England, did we Hijrah for deen, for Allah's Messenger, for dunya? For dunya. So if people do Hijrah for dunya, they get whatever they have done Hijrah for. People can change their intention, but whatever you make intention, that's what you get. If people do Hijrah for a woman to marry, for example, somebody want to marry someone, and she makes a condition, you only can marry me if you move from your place to and live here. And then the person moves, that's fine, but you don't get reward from Allah. You get reward as a marriage, but not reward from Allah. So sometimes men can make condition that if you want to marry me, move to my place. So this is Hijrah for dunya. That actually companions say. It actually hadith narrated by Amash, rahimahullah ta'ala. Waqi has written in his book from Amash, from Shaqiq, Abu Wa'il, rahimahullah ta'ala. He said an Arab Bedouin, he proposed to a woman to marry her, and she was in Medina. So she said to him, if you want to marry me, you have to leave your place and come to Medina, settle in Medina, then you marry me. So he left his hometown, he came to Medina, lived there, and so people used to call him Muhajir Qais. The woman's name was Qais. So he did Hijrah for the sake of Qais. So that's Muhajir Qais. Muhajir Hijrah is to leave actually for the sake of Allah and Messenger. Actually, simple thing this matter is Hijrah first should be mental Hijrah by mind, then physical Hijrah. The problem is when people want to do physical Hijrah without the mental Hijrah. There are the messengers, they spend a lot of time in Iman. Then Hijrah comes next. So first thing is the mind. In mind you need to move from the Kufr and Jahiliyyah to Islam. So once you have moved from your mind completely from Kufr to Islam, then it becomes obligatory to move with your body also from Kufr to Darul Islam. But if your mind actually has not done Hijrah and only your body does Hijrah, it doesn't matter anything. It has no meaning really. In our time there has been so much demand from in England, if you're there you don't listen adhan and nothing happens, you should leave England and go to settle in a Muslim country, do Hijrah. This Hijrah has no meaning because your mind actually, you have not done Hijrah properly. First thing is, do Hijrah with the mind, mental Hijrah. Once that happens, then Hijrah with the body can be useful. I have seen many people, they left England and they went to Pakistan because they said in this place is not very good for the children and this and that. And within 10 years, again I saw them again. I said, what happened? They said it didn't work out properly and so many problems and this and that. They came back. Reason is because it was not properly done. The way is, first thing, make effort really to teach your children Islam there. If you fail and you really hate kufr and shirk and really want, then it will work out. But you just have some imagination in your mind and just moving without a thinking, this is not Hijrah. So first obligation, Hijrah in the mind. Hijrah from the mind. It is very, very important that people in the mind should move from the kufr and from Jahiliyyah, from the shirk to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Make very clear. Then basically physical Hijrah is not so important. It is important sometimes, But sometimes without that, still you can survive. But if your mind has not done hijrah properly, it does not work, necessarily. Okay, the few more things really in this hadith we need to understand, and then inshallah I'll move. When we say intention, people have used this hadith for so many things really. One of my teachers, Maulana Shahbad, I learned from him so many. He said, somebody asked him that how many, fiqh question can be answered in the light of this hadith. So my teacher said, I said, only one question. He said, no, we have learned that 400 questions. This hadith can be used for 400 things. So the thing really people don't understand, this hadith actually has only one answer. All the questions that people are thinking, this hadith is nothing to do with that. People think hadith meaning is that, if you come for Dhuhr prayer, and if you made intention of Asr, it becomes Asr. This hadith has nothing to do with that. Hadith actually something more than that. Whether you make intention of Asr and Dhuhr, it is not for Allah unless you make for Allah. This hadith is for sincerity. It is not this intention. Let me make it much more clear. There are two types of intention. Intention which is with the mind, and intention with the heart. Intention with the mind means making intention to separate the aada from the ibadah, or the ibadah from the aada, or intention to separate one ibadah from the other ibadah. That we call intention niyyah of al-aql, niyyatul qalb. Niyyatul qalb is that to separate the ibadah from the irada, from the aada, or separate one ibadah from the other ibadah. So for example, if you in the morning you wake up and you do not have any food and you don't feel well, and all the day you spend eating nothing until sunset, and then after that you ate, so it is not fasting. Why? Because you did not have the intention which can separate the ibadah from the aada. Basically you just didn't eat it, like many other times you did not eat. But if you wake up in the morning and you make intention, you want to fast. So then you make your mind, it is basically niyyah of the aql, mind, to separate the ibadah from the aada. If you come to the prayer and you have no intention, to become nafl prayer, but if you make intention to make it for the prayer, so you are separating one ibadah from the other ibadah. That we call niyyatul qalb. Niyyatul aql. Niyyatul aql basically is, to separate ibadah from the aada, or to separate one ibadah from the other ibadah. So if I am fasting today, so my intention is to fast nafl. So nafl fasting. Oh, I did a qada in Ramadan, I missed one fasting in Ramadan, so I make intention to do for qada. It is qada fasting. So this is we call niyyatul aql. Niyyatul aql basically is to separate the ibadah from the aada, or to separate one ibadah from the other ibadah. When you read the word niyyah in the books of the fiqh, this is the niyyah that they mean. When fuqaha discuss the niyyah, that's what they mean. They mean this niyyah of the aql, which separates the ibadah from the aada, or which separates the ibadah from the other ibadah. Is it clear? So niyyatul aql is intended when the fuqaha use the word niyyah. This hadith does not mention that at all. It is not about that. This hadith is about something else. The meaning of the hadith is that when you do action, what your end purpose is. Why you praying? To please your Lord, to get paradise. If your intention is to please your Lord, then you get reward. But if your intention, for example, if I pray Zuhr, I made intention, as fuqaha say, so if you make intention for Zuhr prayer, it will be Zuhr prayer. But my intention is to please the people, to show them. According to fuqaha, my intention is correct, because I make intention for the Zuhr prayer. But according to this hadith, is not correct. This hadith is basically discussing the niyyah of the qalb, not niyyah of the aql. This hadith about ikhlas, not about the intention that fuqaha discuss. Many people actually do mistake again. So like Imam Shafi, many people, they say that this hadith is appropriate for 70 chapters, 30 chapters. They mean the niyyah of the aql, not niyyah of the qalb. Niyyah of the qalb you need for everything, not for 70 or 30 chapters. Every single action of the believers must be purely for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Is it clear? So this hadith, one misunderstanding of the hadith has been that people think this hadith means the niyyah of the aql. Niyyah which can separate the ibadah from the aada, or niyyah that can separate one ibadah from the other ibadah. So I am explaining that this is not the meaning of the hadith. Meaning the hadith is after you have done that niyyah, then you need also niyyah to please your Lord. Sincerity. If that is not there, you don't get reward. Is it clear? Now I'm coming to a third niyyah, which we have our time. That actually has no value anyway. That niyyah with the tongue. The people think in India and Pakistan that when you pray, you say with your tongue that I'm praying Zuhr, 2 rakah, 4 rakah behind this Imam. This niyyah has no value to any faqih. You say with your tongue, I'm praying Zuhr 4 rakah, and your heart is, in your mind is Asr. It will be Asr. Whatever you say with your tongue, it has no meaning anyway. You don't need that. Some of them say it is bid'ah to say like that. Niyyah either can be the intention with the aql, mind, or with the heart. Niyyah has nothing to do with the tongue. Nobody has used the word niyyah for the tongue. Nobody. So people don't need to say with your tongue. So when you're praying janazah prayer, don't need to say I'm praying janazah. It is what your mind is. When you're fasting in the month of Ramadan, you don't need to say I'm fasting in the month of Ramadan. Just your mind. When you woke up for suhoor, that's what your mind is, you're fasting. That's enough. You don't need to say this. Is it clear? So the niyyah with the tongue that many people do, and they learn and they teach in Urdu language and the books. And sometimes I have seen the Imam before janazah prayer, they remind you how to make intention for janazah prayer. And they spend half an hour to teach people how to make intention for Eid prayer. They teach people how to make intention. You learn that, it doesn't make any difference at all. You don't need any intention by the word. You only need intention in the mind for the fuqaha. The intention of the fiqh is intention by the mind. An intention that actually Hadith is teaching you and the Quran is teaching you, intention from the heart, purely for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Is it clear? So this should be known properly, that we don't need to learn intention by the tongue. No doubt it's very important that people, according to the Hadith, that people should not do things for the sake of the people. Actually the problem of the people is really, because like I mentioned earlier, yesterday, that most time actually in this world, we are impressed by the things by which other people are impressed. For example, when you see your child goes to school and he wants to buy certain types of shoes, what the reason is? That's because that's what he needs, or it is because that's what other people do. So many people do things because somebody else does. So they're impressed by the people. The most people do things because they're impressed by the people. And why the people are impressed? Very often by wrong reasons. Anyway, the most people, they basically in the world, they do things because somewhere they're impressed by someone. So people want to have certain types of car, not because they need the car, because somehow they're impressed by the people who own a similar car. You want to have a car like that. So many young people, in their clothes, in their food, in their style, in their work, they want to be similar to the people by whom they are impressed. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is never impressed by that. So what can impress the people, it not necessarily can impress Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So keep in mind properly. It's not necessarily that in all those expensive shoes or clothes that you buy, it also can please your Lord. No, He's not impressed by those things. To any type of house, for example, sometimes people think that I need to buy a house this in this area, very expensive, and people think it is area the rich people and learned people and this people, that people. You can buy the house there, but it does not necessarily mean it is going to please your Lord. It's not going to make him happy. They're spending money, but it's not going to be happy. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not impressed necessarily by what people are impressed. Is it clear? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's criteria is different from the people's criteria. Most time we people, we are busy to be true to the criteria of the people. The only measurement in our mind actually is the measurement that we see around. So when we do actions, that's what we do. So when we buy a cloth, not that is going to please Allah, but it is going to be impressive. When we go to a restaurant to eat, not because this is the food I need, no, because it is actually very impressive in the society to go to that restaurant. When we want to visit a place, we want to visit the place not that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants, no, the place that people actually love. The most time people are busy to make their place in the heart of the people. And Allah wants you to make your place to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That He wants. That is what He's teaching basically. That's what Hadith means. Hadith means do things because you want to make a place near to Allah, not in the heart of the people. It could be that what you do people don't like, but your Lord likes it. So do things because He likes it, not because people like. Do the way He likes, not the way the people like. That He wants from. That what I said to you, that actually mental hijrah. Make your mind to move. So many people, they think if you move from England to Saudi Arabia, you have done hijrah. But if you come to Saudi Arabia and you watch TV, It is same thing that TV actually exists everywhere in the world. So tell me what difference actually is. If your mind always in TV, it doesn't matter even if you're sitting in the haram and you have a TV on your, on your phone. So what difference it make? Physically you're in haram, but your mind somewhere else. We need the mental hijrah. That also Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, first thing actually is correct the mind of the people. Before making hijrah, before making any physical effort, first thing is correct the people's mind properly. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is teaching, that main teaching of the Prophet and Messenger is that make your place to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not in the eye of the people. Please Him. And this intention is not easy. It really makes a lot of effort. فضل ibn Ziyad said, سألت أبا عبد الله يعني أحمد عن النية في العمل قلت كيف النية؟ قال يعالج نفسه إذا أراد عملا لا يريد به الناس. Fadl ibn Ziyad said, I asked Ahmad bin Hanbal rahimahullah ta'ala, what intention means? How intention can be? He said, intention is that you make effort. You make effort that when you do something, you don't want to please the people. The intention that fuqaha say does need any effort? No effort. It is so easy. The intention that fuqaha are teaching, it does not involve any effort. Just when you pray for Zuhr, just make and think about Zuhr. That's all. The intention that Hadith teaches, it needs effort. That way Hanbal say, يُعَالِجُ نَفْسَهُ. Force yourself, make effort that you are doing this action, but you don't want to please anybody. Understand properly. You never can reach to your Lord unless you make effort. So the intention that fuqaha say, it could be important in intention, but it does not need any effort. But intention that Hadith is teaching, it certainly needs effort. And that is to make effort not to please anyone other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. يُعَالِجُ نَفْسَهُ إِذَا أَرَادَ عَمَلًا لَا يُرِيدُ بِهِ النَّاسَ. Yahya ibn Kathir rahimahullah ta'ala, one of the great narrator of the Hadith among Tabi'een, and some people say he's one of the 6 pillars of the Hadith. He said, تَعَلَّمُ النِّيَّةَ فَإِنَّهَا أَبْلَغُ مِنَ الْعَمَلِ. Learn the intention because it is more effective than the action. To think really properly. What we do learn? We learn the amal, not the intention. Everybody learns how to pray, but people actually don't learn why to pray. What the purpose of the prayer? What they want from the prayer? People don't learn this thing. Everybody learns how to do Umrah, but they don't learn why you want to do Umrah. What is the soul behind it? What is the purpose behind it? What actually doing? So when you learn the prayer, you learn all those things, but you don't learn anything. For example, when you learn that the prayer of Zuhr is Fajr time, and the Zuhr one is Fajr is in the Fajr time, Zuhr is in the when sun declines, and Asr is this time, Maghrib is this time, Isha is this time, you learn these things. You are learning Amal, but you are not learning really the Niyyah behind. Think properly why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made the Fajr in that time. Why He made the Zuhr when the sun declines. Why He made Asr when the sun is about to set. Why He made the Asr, Maghrib, when sun sets. Why He made the Isha when darkness is there. Why He made these timings. What difference it makes. Think properly. It will help you to understand His purpose. And the action only become action when your intention meets the intention of the lawmaker. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes something for a purpose, and you also have the same purpose from the same thing, then you get reward. If you have different intention, you don't get the reward. Anything. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made the Fajr time for a purpose, and you have the same purpose in your mind, then you get the same reward. But if pray Fajr time and you don't know really what Fajr time means, you don't know what Dhuhr means, you don't know what Asr means, you don't know what Maghrib means. When you stand in the prayer, then you read the Quran. In the Ruku and Sajda, you don't read the Quran. If you don't understand why reading the Quran, why you stand, and why in Ruku and Sajda there's tasbih and not reading the Quran, if you don't understand properly, you don't do it properly. You get some reward, but not actually the real thing. That's why it is very, very important to learn the niyyah. And niyyah only can come when you understand what is the purpose of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from behind this action. For example, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made eye to see, and nose to smell, and mouth to eat. You know this thing, then you use properly. But if somebody does not learn this thing and start eating with the eye and smelling with the mouth, what will happen? Tell. What will happen? It never can benefit. That actually happens for many of us. We people do many actions, but we really don't know what purpose behind them is. So we misuse them. So we don't get the real thing. That's why the fuqaha say, learning the niyyah, intention, is much more important than the action. First, learn really why Allah SWT made this. Then you have the same intention. Intention of the slave must meet the intention of the master. If the master asks you to do something for a purpose, the slave must do the same thing with the same purpose. So like in India, these Mughal rulers, they have made such a big, huge building, big, nice building, palaces to live. Now if you go there, monkeys are jumping there. Did they make this intention? What the purpose of the Mughal emperor was that the monkeys will come and jump in the palaces and they live there? That's not the purpose. Now what happening is, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made this universe for what purpose? As a food for your mind, for your brain, for your heart. Now people are misusing them. They go to the seaside and the water side. Instead of learning from that, they go and they become naked and take off the clothes. Do you think it is use of that thing? That way Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made? Think for how much misuse is happening. People don't understand really why Allah made something and how you use it. He made for something else. So He made the nose to smell, and now they're eating with the nose. So how can he appreciate that? This actually what that why they say learning the niyyah is more important than learning the amal. Anyway, I stop it here inshallah because you need to have some question. And yeah, inshallah. So if you have a question, please ask.
Shaykh, you mentioned in the beginning that the hadith was gharib in the beginning. Would that not take from the authenticity, because it took 4 generations for it to become mashhur? You said
no, because I think hadith gharib does not mean hadith is not sahih. Sahih has a certain condition. So hadith in this hadith in narration comes from the sources which are reliable sources. So that's what we need to learn. Not necessarily every hadith becomes known to everybody and everybody narrates them. Umar Khattab, no doubt, he taught the hadith on the minbar. Many people know hadith, but only one person narrated. So there are many hadiths of the Prophet ﷺ, only 1 or 2 companions narrate. It does not mean that people did not know, but they only narrate. So hadith being gharib does not mean not sahih.
Any questions from the sister side? Any more? Okay, well, one question from the brother.
Yes, I just wanted to ask, I make an intention to do something. My intention, Allah is aware of that. What if I'm boastful, I then come back and make an announcement of my intention? Does that any way decrease the ajr of my amal, of my action, because of my boastfulness?
Yeah, it depends actually when you announce what intention then you have. Because sometimes, for example, you have a pure intention for Allah, and then you announce because you want other people also to follow the same intention. You get double reward. So for example, you want to build a mosque and you have only 1,000 pounds to make intention that you purely want to build mosque. And then you think if you announce that you have given 1,000 pounds, other people also will give. So you get reward of all the people. But if you have pure intention, then shaitan comes to think, oh, let me tell people, the people know how important I am, how pious I am. Then you corrupting your intention. So basically, even announcing also is an action. So you have to have purity of intention in every action. So when you first time made intention, pure intention, when you want to tell the people, make pure intention. Every single time people need to make more pure intention, every single time.
Is there any situation where sometimes people, it's a thing that's common amongst the people when they talk, if someone does something haram, for example, something that's clearly haram, they just say now, it's a common statement, people just say, oh, actions are judged by the intentions. So he meant well, so somehow that takes away the responsibility of taking care of avoiding the haram, for example. So is that ever possible? Is it something that you can
Yeah, I know that the ulama have saying really is that when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, لِيَبْلُوَكُمْ أَيُّكُمْ أَحْسَنُ عَمَلًا, He wants to test you who is the best in action. So the thing meaning is 2 things. Meaning is a right intention and a right action. Do a kind of sunnah and with sincerity for Allah. So if actions are done not a kind of sunnah, don't have reward. So for example, like if you're traveling from here to England, pure intention, you want to go to England, but you take a flight going to Paris. So tell me what will happen. If you take a flight from here, which goes to Paris, and intention to go to England, are you going to arrive to England? No. you need both things. You need right intention and you need right action. And right action depends on right knowledge as well anyway. So people need to do action according to Sunnah and they need to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Both are important. أوفقه للسنة and أخلصه. Those sincere action and more according to Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Haram thing, and if people think haram can make them to reach Allah, ulama say it becomes kufr. So they say somebody is gambling and say Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim while gambling, they say it is kufr. It's not easy thing. Do haram with intention of good. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, inna Allah tayyibun la yaqbalu illa tayyiban. Allah is pure. He does not accept except pure thing. It's not that you do robbery and intention is going to help poor people. No, if you want to help poor people, earn money, make effort, little money, but spend, but not with the robbery. Yeah.
We'll take one question from the sister side, inshallah, then we'll come back to the brothers.
I was going to ask you, sometimes we start off with, good intention, pure intention, and then, we don't purposely change our intention. We don't purposely change our intention, or we don't want to change it, but
Can you repeat again? Because now it is
so
clear.
we sometimes start off with the pure intention, good intention for something, and waswasa can come in and cause you to change your intention or give you thoughts in your mind. And how would you advise us to try and maintain the purity in our intention, try and maintain what we began with, the good intention that we started with?
Understand the properly. Then in the life, believers are in always, in a fight with shaitan. It never can happen that he leaves you. He never loses hope. He all the time keeps fighting you. So when you make intention he's there, then he will remain with you until he corrupts your intention. The meaning is you must do mujahada, full effort all the time until you die. There's no easy way. And to keep making effort, but when you keep making effort, it becomes easier for you to do. But shaitan always remain there. That our test is there. So there's no solution really. But understand that shaitan cannot force you. He only teaches you. If you learn his tricks properly, you can defeat him. But no doubt, there's no easy solution. It is always problem really. Because people make intention, then intention becomes corrupt in the way. Then again they improve the intention. Then again shaitan comes. It keeps coming, going. So you have to be aware of that all the time.
Take a question from the brother, inshallah.
Shaykh, you said this particular hadith can't be used for the intention aqli, and how scholars have applied it to the fiqhi questions. And this actually actually applies to the whole of Islam rather than just those specific chapters. So which hadith do you think applies to those? Because fiqh also needs proof, right? So if this isn't the hadith that those scholars have to refer to in order to prove the importance of intention, of aqli intention, which is the other one that they would have to use?
No, the simple thing basically is that actually to us is more connected to the action rather than intention. That intention is actually itself action. To make it like in a prayer, it's basic action. So when you say prayer of Zohar, it is same thing action. The real intention really is this thing, sincerity. So you can say that when we say do action, the meaning is when the time the Zohar comes, pray Zohar prayer. If the time the Zohar comes, you praying Asr, so you are not praying. So basically that intention, what they say, it is part of the action. It's not really something different. The meaning in the time the Zohar, you pray Zohar. If you're doing qada, you do qada. That's what the action is. If you're doing qada and you making intention of nothing, you're not doing the action. So that actually more connected to the action, not really with the sincerity. Is it clear?
Shaykh, if you have a pure intention for an action and afterwards people are impressed by this or people praise you, if you naturally just become pleased with people's reaction, is that a corruption of intention?
No doubt, if somebody makes pure intention, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sometimes wants to reward you even in this world. The people see and praise you and all those things. So there's no harm in that. It is reward from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Unless next time that also become part of your intention. That the problem is. So that's why don't look at what people do. Purify. After that, if people praise you, thank you, whatever they do, don't worry. All the messengers, they work so hard, but then people praise them. They thank them, but their intention is pure. It always happens, like, if people teach, people read the prayer, people read the Quran, if the intention is pure, it will happen. Some people appreciate that. Appreciation of the people does not corrupt you unless you corrupt yourself. Simple thing really is bad intention is not something somebody else can influence you. It is you do. Intention is your own action. You yourself actually make it. So if you make effort to make it sincere, it will remain sincere. That's why people are responsible. If it is other people's action, you will not be responsible. So everybody's intention is their own action. They have to think. So if people praise you, it doesn't matter.